What's going on, my people? How we doing? How we living? Welcome back to Cool World. All right. And how we doing, YouTube audience and internet webs out there? It's your boy Moose rocking with y'all. All right. And for this particular video, y'all, I like to talk about truth and things that are hard hitting and things that aren't really typically talked about in the mainstream or in the algorithm so particularly. Okay. But for this one, I want to talk about something that probably is not on everyone's tip of their tongue or in their mind per se. And that's COVID, the coronavirus. Remember that? Remember? Remember how they had us 6 feet apart, distancing, social distancing? Yeah. It's like that's such a thing of the past. It's like, did they come up with some kind of miraculous cure for that? And everyone just took that cure all under the cover of night, and they don't talk about this in the mainstream news or something. Because if I remember correctly, the vaccine that they came out with these, not everybody got it. They were just still trying to push it. I don't see them trying to push this on anybody anymore. But that's besides the point. Okay. But in this particular video, I wanted to talk about, a little bit about COVID, but also about these mRNA GLP-1 drugs that they're pushing on Americans, okay? And kind of what's behind that. Because your typical pharmacist or your typical doctor is so easily inclined to just prescribe that to somebody uh, who's like particularly overweight or somebody, who's, could maybe just use a little bit of motivation and could probably just you go to the gym to probably lose some of that weight, instead of pushing these drugs on people. But anyway, that's besides the point. I want to get into this video from one of my favorite content creators. All right, a call to uprising. So I'm gonna just stop rambling and let my man just get right into it. Okay. All right, bet.
YouTube says it.
Oh, my bad. Hold up.
YouTube says it has had enough of vaccine misinformation on its site.
And false stories from phony sites to run circles around major news outlets.
Many people don't know the difference between something real and something created to deceive them.
Open your eyes.
If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. As I've talked about over the years, the transformation is taking place. Transformation is a very common theme in the occult. And literally what we've seen going on in our society is a massive transformation. And I've been meaning to cover Ozempic and how the government is even trying to make Ozempic free for consumers out there. And the pivot, of course, from the COVID vaccine to Ozempic, because we don't hear about COVID anymore, even though they told us COVID was never going to go away. But eventually COVID did go away. How it went away was, of course, the data showed that no one was actually going anymore to get boosted, not enough people at least, to make them try to use their propaganda machine to push the narrative that COVID was real so that people will be scared enough to go and continue to put mRNA and gene editing inside of their bodies. So the pivot, as we've all looked around and said, what's the next pandemic going to be? Is it going to be an Ebola outbreak? Is it going to be the hantavirus outbreak from the cruise ship? What is it going to be? And what we've actually seen is quietly Ozempic becoming normalized. We've seen, of course, the government do what they always do, which is use Hollywood as a vessel for social engineering. And the latest ghoul to show off its Ozempic body, which, again, people out there are going to say, these aren't the same people. These are stunt doubles. These are people in masks. That very well could be true. But the bottom line goal here is using these celebrities to influence the public to go and get these Ozempic shots. And now, like I've talked about over the years, we live in such a narcissistic society that people are so ego-driven. They are so obsessed with how they look that they actually don't even realize, some of them, that they're already skinny, but they want to be even skinnier. And that's, of course, what social media has caused, this mass narcissism that we see, where people are out in public. They're not even enjoying where they are. They're going to places just so they can have photo ops to take and post on social media. This has all happened, of course, from social engineering, from the celebrities to social influencers, which has caused this mass narcissistic hysteria that we exist inside of. So the latest ghoul that, again, we don't know if these are clones. We don't know what they are. They obviously are looking more and more like their true selves, which is Nephilim, because they are so bony and demonic. I mean, they look like gray aliens, which, again, all this stuff ties back in to Aleister Crowley, as I'll get into in this video. But Charlize Theron, another one of these Hollywood celebrities who, of course, conveniently, all of these CAOP Hollywood celebrities, all of them have trans kids that they push on their kids. They all were pushing what on you a couple years ago? Every one of them was showing you get the
fair use. But yeah, they all do that in Hollywood. Like, what is with that? They all adopt kids and then they all push them into like trans. It's weird, man. It's really strange.
those saline shots, pretending they were getting COVID shots. And now we're seeing all of these celebrities, whether they're stunt doubles or not, looking like literally Nephilim in front of you, pushing the Ozempic shot. So Charlize Theron, who I've exposed over the years, doing the all-seeing eye symbol, of course, is in the club. And remember, when I say CIA operatives, Hollywood is nothing but a CIA operation. All these movies are mind control operations. They are predictive programming, showing you what is going to happen in the future through fiction. Of course, your brain perceives it as that's never going to happen while it's actually happening right in front of you. Movies like Terminator, movies like Contagion and Outbreak, all the things that they've done, they've showed you ahead of time. Meanwhile, your mind perceives the news as reality when the news couldn't be more scripted. But these celebrities have a job. It's to influence you, to get you to do what the government wants you to do. They're the ones who are responsible for the social division. They're the ones who are pushing all the trans stuff with their children. They're the ones, again, who are posting pictures of themselves getting the COVID vaccine, which was really saline shots, trying to influence you to do the right thing, the shot, knowing very well that they would never be held accountable, that the civilians, even if they realized what the government was doing with these COVID vaccines, would never rise up because of all the distractions, because of the division with the left and right paradigm, that the people would always just be content with arguing and calling these people out online instead of actually holding them accountable for mass genocide, which is what we saw during COVID, right? So even some of these celebrities who are already thin have what we call the Ozempic face and the Ozempic skeleton body now. And Ozempic, again, stepped in right after COVID. The government came and said, well, Trump, everyone else, we're going to give you free discounted Ozempic because it's going to help Americans get healthier. And like 10 years from now, you'll hear all the same commercials you hear of when you turn the TV on with lawyers talking about mass lawsuits against big pharma companies where it's really just a joke. All you do, you take these experimental pills and then the government and, these mass lawsuits occur. And then the pharma companies, not the government, wink, wink, will give you 10 cents or, a little $1.50 in your bank account because you were a victim of, taking one of these experimental pills when they were told that they weren't really experimental pills. These people are dumb enough to take these medicines because they see an FDA approval stamp, which shows you how dumb these people are who actually go and get these things done. Ozempic is an mRNA vaccine. That's what it is. It's mRNA. You shoot this into yourself, whatever method you take when you put the Ozempic in. Obviously, these people are injecting themselves with Ozempic, and it's mRNA. They tell you that it's something else, that it's not really mRNA. It's mRNA. It is gene editing, just like the COVID vaccine. And remember, a lot of people, including myself during COVID, were talking about the comparisons of COVID-19 and what people were actually getting once they got vaccinated, because, of course, we all know that the flu didn't exist during year one of COVID because the flu went away and everybody who had COVID-19 had the same exact symptoms of the flu. So really we could look at anybody who had the flu were being diagnosed with COVID. And then when we had people actually getting the vaccine, we started seeing the shedding, just like polio, and people actually were starting to get ill. And of course, we know about the 5G frequencies as well, and the radiation poisoning. All those towers went up during COVID. And many people were comparing the symptoms to HIV and AIDS. Well, if you take a look at some of these celebrities, whether it's really them or not, it looks a lot like everybody's got AIDS these days, right? Charlize Theron. We're supposed to believe that this is a better look to be as skinny and as bony and as Nephilim looking as possible. This is Ozzy Osbourne's daughter. I mean, obviously it's showing its true gender in these images because this is just absolutely disturbing. That anybody out there would think that these images are of attractive looking people and not what they truly are, which are demons. And we've seen this over the years with normalizing Botox. We saw regular people getting Botox and not knowing that the majority of people view people with Botox as not looking normal or human, right? They look like their face. I mean, their faces literally don't move. They're expressionless. Well, look at these celebrities, Sharon Osbourne. That is known as Ozempic face. You can see even people like Katy Perry, right? People who you wouldn't look at. You might look at Katy Perry and say Katy Perry's got a schlong, but you're not going to look at Katy Perry and be like, well, Katy Perry's extremely overweight. But they're taking Ozempic for a reason, not because, oh, it's healthy for you, because they're trying to convince you to go and get it, just like they did during COVID. Jessica Simpson, look at them all. I mean, they look like complete fallen angels. Demi Moore, right, who happened to conveniently be in a movie about adrenochrome in Hollywood, right, was even nominated for an Oscar, which ties into this video as well. We see Ariana Grande, who is already as thin and frightening looking, bulimic looking as possible, looking even more ghoulish. Nicole Kidman, all of them. You even see this witch, Kathy Bates, who has always been a very large woman in Hollywood. Ozempic. We've seen Oprah. We've even seen the men, Will Ferrell, who have exposed 1,000 times over. Videos are available on the website. All these celebrities have been exposed individually for other things, their involvement in the occult symbolism, Illuminati, hand sign, all that type of stuff, including Will Ferrell with Pizzagate and all the creepy blood ritual type of comical scenes that he's been involved in, which aren't really comical, but they try to portray it as comedy, like in Zoolander, the thing he did on that television series where he was literally doing a blood ritual sacrifice and doing a blood baptism, which I have dozens of videos on. Over the years, this guy and a link to the Kardashians, I mean, he couldn't look more ghoulish. These people look like they're dead, right? And that's really...
Yeah. I mean, if you look at their cheeks and their bones, it like looks all sunken in, you know? It's like their eye sockets, everything looks all ghoulish, sunken in, like it's missing some kind of elasticity. Yeah.
Really, because what's happening here is people's souls are actually being killed. That's what's occurring here. And if you look at the Ozempic box, you know what nobody notices? They look at the box, they see it. Oh, okay, what is it? Subscriber, once you go Ozempic, they see the little thing that you push into yourself. Nobody notices signs and symbols. I always talk about signs and symbols. Look at the actual symbol, the logo for Ozempic. Novo Nordisk, right? Just like you see Novo on the back of the dollar bill. Novo, Ordos Decorum, New Order of the Ages. Here's Novo Nordisk. And does that image look familiar to you? Now, we can look at that image right off the bat, and the first thing you probably think of is Baal, right? Mm-hmm. A bull with a halo over its head. But really what this logo is depicting is the Apis bull, which again is another Egyptian deity. And how convenient that, but we always see tie into Hollywood and even in the government, right? With the obelisks and the monuments that we have in America and around the earth. And we go back, obviously, to Freemasonry and their obsession with the Egyptian gods and goddesses, which are in their books and their teachings that have exposed as well over the years, is their obsession with these Egyptian gods and goddesses, which all ties back into the occult, right? So Apis, this is what it's named after. This is the logo for Ozempic. Apis, this deity, an ancient Egyptian religion. Apis, or Hapis, alternatively spelled Hapa-Ankh, was a sacred bull or multiple sacred bulls worshipped in the Memphis region, identified as the son of Hathor, a primary deity in the pantheon of ancient Egypt. Initially, he was assigned a significant role in her worship, being sacrificed and reborn. Later, Apis also served as an intermediary between humans and other powerful deities. Originally Ptah, later Osiris. So there's a few things to take out of that, okay? For starters, the transformation. Because that's the big key term during COVID that most people were missing. The music videos, the celebrities, the movies, the theme, transgenderism. Transformation is the big theme. The transformation into oneness. That is what is actually occurring here, which is
He's not wrong about that. What was the movie that won an Oscar? What was it, 2 years ago? Like the Mary Angelina Kristalina, whatever that was, that movie about that transgender lady. She was like a man, then she became a woman by the end of the movie with Zoe Saldana. Like, and people forget about these things that happens every year in, year out. But it's like, yeah, they're trying to push this ideology on people. It's wild.
The part of this mass gene editing experiment that our society is willingly signing up and partaking in, whether it's they're afraid of the common cough and cold, so they're going and getting a COVID vaccine, or if they're looking in the mirror and they're saying, I don't look good enough for my social media accounts, that I need to look even thinner, so much so that I don't even realize that I'm starting to look like a bulimic skeleton or Skeletor itself or a fallen angel Nephilim, but I'll overlook that because I need to be thinner so that I could actually not even look like I have flesh on my bones, right? The transformation. As a bull, Apis was originally a god of fertility. During the first dynasty, his popularity grew, and he became associated with Osiris and Ptah. You might remember Ptah, the Oscar, the Academy Award that everybody knows is the big award in Hollywood. Is obviously, as you see the statue of Oscar, right? Look next to it, the Ptah, Osiris. I have a separate video on the Oscars and Ptah as well on the website at callforanuprising.com. And again, if you haven't signed up for the website, I have thousands of videos that you can view over there over the years. Even videos I did before COVID talking about how they were going to do an outbreak, how it was coming, how they needed to get mRNA inside of people's bodies, things with the flu shot, the data on the flu shot, how they were feeling pressure to create some type of pandemic because they wanted people to just go willingly get mRNA through the flu shot or just to get underneath your skin one way or the other. And of course, they created that mass hysteria for a reason. It wasn't just to depopulate. Most people out there say, hey, it was just to kill off people. It was to get nanotechnology inside of people's bodies. And again, I understand that they spray us with smart dust. There's other ways that they can get under your skin, the stuff that they put in the food, etc. But a direct access to your bloodline, right into your blood, into your veins via a vaccine. That was the goal. So there's a connection between Apis the bull, okay, and Osiris. And you might remember Osiris. Osiris is the god of the dead and resurrection. Osiris is very significant in the occult. Some equate, in certain occult circles, they equate Osiris as actual Satan and Lucifer. Aleister Crowley, the founder of Thelema, who I covered so many times, who openly talks about human sacrifice, in his writings and rituals, he specifically would always talk about the aeon of Osiris. There's the aeon of Isis, the aeon of Osiris, the aeon of Horus. And he specifically would talk about Osiris risen, even writing a poem and a song in his teachings about Osiris risen. He invoked Osiris in magic rituals in part of these Egyptian-style ceremonial black magic rituals that he did, which involved human sacrifice, which symbolized the initiate's journey through the underworld to a spiritual rebirth. So again, to summarize, the logo that you see on the Ozempic bottle or on the Ozempic packaging is Apis, but Apis became associated with Osiris, the coming to represent the living incarnation of Osiris. This is all done through the transformation. This is the transformation, okay? People don't seem to understand when we're talking in terms of a transformation. mRNA, they openly tell you what it is. It's gene editing, right? You see all the images where they show you, DNA strands getting edited, okay? You have to think of it in common sense terms. You have your own specific DNA. Think of all these crime shows, right? How they solve crimes and a guy ends up getting convicted of murder who isn't even a suspect on the police's radar. How? He leaves his DNA on the scene, whether it's blood or semen or some other disgusting thing inside of the victim or on the victim's body. And 20 years later, they come out with these cases. They find out they go retrace his DNA, and they go and find this guy. And it's nobody disputes it because they say, well, this person has his own specific DNA. There's one of one. Only one person has this DNA, right? You have your DNA. I have mine. Everybody out there has their own specific DNA. What they are doing is they are transforming you by editing your DNA, which is taking what God made you, which is your own individual, you are your own unique individual created by God, God's footprint that they are trying to manipulate and edit to their own footprint. And we go to Osiris. Again, remember Osiris that I just mentioned with Aleister Crowley, the Osiris risen symbolism, right? Osiris risen rituals. That is what you see, where you see these celebrities putting their arms folded in an X over their chest, whether it's Muhammad Ali. Nobody thinks about this stuff, right? We talk about the all-seeing eye all the time because it becomes more and more obvious, where you see them holding a 666 over their eye. All the collages I've shown you over the years, right? This is just as important because you don't think about it when you see an image of this in a magazine or a headshot of these celebrities, right? You can see Marina Abramovich up in the top right corner. You can see the Freemasons doing it. It all goes back. Freemasonry, again, the occult, they're all connected to one another. This is in your own town. There's a Freemason lodge in every town in the world. And if you can't find one in your town, you'll find one in the next town. Okay. This is how they've networked and gotten into our schools, gotten into our, they're everywhere. Okay. Pretending to be something that they're not. They pretend to be in the church. They pretend to be Christian. They pretend that they don't even worship God. They worship Lucifer. That's what their teachings tell you. And this is Osiris risen. All of these Masons, all these Satanists doing the X over the chest. Robin Williams, right? You say, oh, Robin Williams, but didn't they kill Robin Williams? Well, they kill one of their own. They sacrifice their own. Here's Prince doing it, right? We know Prince was sacrificed. Chris Cornell, another celebrity. These guys who were just suddenly, in a couple of years ago, however many years it's been now, maybe 6, 7, 8 years ago, all these celebrities like Robin Williams, Chris Cornell were just hanging themselves randomly, right? The guy from Lincoln Park, right? All of them. And then we see it normalized with people like Elon Musk, right? Who are pretending that they're conservatives because they're starting to work the Christian conservative audience. Not just with simple things like going electric, getting onto their control grid, but getting things like the Neuralink embedded in their skulls, right? We talk about false miracles on this channel. The Bible talking about people who will try to appear as Christ, doing miracles with their counterfeit miracles, right? The Antichrist. Elon Musk fits the bill pretty well, doing the X symbolism here. What do you think X? Twitter is renamed to X, and he talks about Twitter and X being the collective consciousness. You can see the symbol again with Aleister Crowley, even his mother or father, or husband, one of all the above, probably. May Musk, right? Another witch I've exposed over the years, who has talked openly about how if you're not in on the Neuralink and you don't want to be a part of it, something's wrong with you, right? All the satanic imagery that May Musk has done here, doing the X as well. In fact, one of the side effects they claim from Ozempic is that people are going blind from Ozempic. Well, how convenient that people are going blind from Ozempic, and then we have these false counterfeit Christ, these antichrists like Elon Musk, who has his own company that's going to be called Blind Sight, which I've covered as well, which is going to be able to cure the blind, right? But nobody sees the comparisons to the warnings in the Bible about antichrists, false miracles.
All right, yo. I think I'm going to call it there because, yeah, my man's going off about that, and it's all very sensical. And all of it makes a lot of sense. And, yeah, like I said, make sure you guys follow his channel, Call to Uprising. And, yeah, I just think that's all the examples he put in there, like with mRNA, like it's just so transient, and you can see it so clear what they've been doing. And Elon Musk, like there's no way. I did a video on him a few videos back when he became the richest man ever. Of course, it had to be Elon Musk. This guy, I don't trust him as far as I could throw him. But yeah, make sure you guys follow. Gonna keep doing these videos that are skewed away from the mainstream because nobody talks about COVID anymore, and nobody's gonna talk about this trans ideology that they're pushing on everyone. Okay, so make sure you guys lock in and stay tuned to Cool World. I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.